Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy, Scottie Simpin. I told Michael Jordan I wasn't too pleased with the last dance, old looking ass boy. The ex-Chicago Bulls star won new fans in the acclaimed Netflix documentary. He talks about his special relationship with MJ and basketball's equality problem. Born in Arkansas in 1965, the youngest of 12 children, Scottie Simpin is one of the basketball's all-time greats. He played alongside Michael Jordan for the Chicago Bulls when they dominated the sport in the 1990s, winning 6 NBA championships. He also won 2 Olympic gold medals. That period, the Bulls and in particular Jordan's extraordinary achievements are the focus of the 10-part critically acclaimed Netflix docuseries The Last Dance, which has been a major hit in 2020. You and Michael Jordan seemed to have a special bond in the film when you were both on your game. It seemed like the team was going to win. Was that the case? Yeah, that relationship we established that we felt like that in the late 80s playing against the Pistons, just starting to grow and mature and have each other's backs. We grew up together and we defended each other. That respect we had on the court, that competitiveness we took through the top, it was special. That was the respect we had for each other because we had to be on the court to do what we did. We had to be dominant. How accurate was The Last Dance in showing what went on? I don't think it was that accurate in terms of really defining what was accomplished in one of the greatest eras of basketball, but also by two of the greatest players, and one could even put that aside and say the greatest team of all time. I didn't think those things stood out in the documentary. I thought it was more about Michael trying to uplift himself and to be glorified. The series was co-produced by Jordan's Jump 23 company. I think it also backfired to some degree in that people got a chance to see what kind of personality Michael had. Have you spoken to him about your opinion of series? Yeah, I told him I wasn't too pleased with it. He accepted it. He said, hey, you're right. That was pretty much it. Yeah, Mike was basically telling you, deal with it. That's what he really said. It took a lot of effort and commitment to be a top basketball player. Was it a relief to retire? Yeah, that was pretty much it for me. I had put so much of my life into the game from back in high school and having to catch up physically and always feeling I had to prove myself. I think there was some gratifications throughout my career, but I had back problems throughout my time and I had to try and keep on top of that. Owing to a contractual anomaly, you were not well paid compared to your teammates. Was that difficult? I think at the time there were moments when it was upsetting, but also there was so much joy that rose among the pain that I was feeling. There was too much to celebrate and enjoy to be thinking about the negative side of it. What was it like looking back at incidents from so long ago, like the time you refused to play and sat out the rest of a match? I kind of let all that stuff go to the past. I didn't get behind the documentary and tried to promote it, talk about any incident that might have happened in the documentary. I didn't feel I needed to bring back things that happened 20 years ago. Did you ever get nervous before a big game? No, I would say I would get more energized than nervous. I think I had been through situations before which meant I didn't feel any nervousness. We felt like we were the ones being hunted at that point. I think you're playing with what I call confidence, maybe even a little bit of arrogance. You feel like you're at the top. This has been a dramatic year for America with COVID, Black Lives Matter, and the election. How have those events affected you? A lot of things have happened this year that have really opened up issues that have been covered up and thrown in a corner. I think it's opened everybody's eyes, not just in America, but all over the world, as to the equality that America lacks. And I think that our president has put us on the stage of embarrassment. What would you have done if you were a player now? You have to make a stand, and that's what the players are doing now. They're showing they're unified. I think that would have been the same case had I been a part of the game today. That's what the Players Association is about. It's great that their voices have been heard. Do you think things have changed in basketball since when you started? No, Equality would be, how about we get some black owners? That's equality. Michael Jordan owns one professional team in America, professional sports as a whole. There's just one team owned by a black American. That's not equality. Look at the head coaches throughout sports. We are far away from equality. All these owners, they hid and shut it down when people started talking about equality. I've never heard the commissioner say we're going to create more opportunities for black owners in our game. I think this is going to get kicked down the road. Basketball has been played without crowds this year. Less pressure, but less motivation. Is it easier or more difficult to play without an audience? I think it's easier to play. I played pickup games in empty gyms for a long time, and I think that's what the NBA turned into last season. Everybody making shots when you're in the gym and no fans there. Everything goes up as far as the percentages of shooting the basketball, and that's what we saw last season. From a business standpoint, it allows the game to continue, but from a statistical category, if the game stays like that, these guys are going to eat up the record books. So is the characteristics that marks out the truly great players the ability to perform under pressure of the crowds? Well, I think it has to be a high skill level because, yeah, the players need to be able to perform when the pressure is on. But, players perform differently in late game situations when the pressure is on. Not every player has to play the role of a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan. Look at how LeBron finishes games. He puts a lot of pressure on defenses himself, creating a lot of opportunities for other people. That's what he's able to do. He can dominate a game late without even scoring. Last week, Diego Maradona died. He struggled with fame and adulation. Did you miss the cheering crowds, and did you feel the need to replace that hit with something else? I was cool with it because I never heard the noise. If I could say that, I played for my team and to make it fun for those guys out on the court. I didn't really give a crap about what people thought about how I played. When I walked off the court and the cheers went away, I was fine with it. I didn't care to have people chanting for me. I wanted to have my own privacy. I wanted to not be that basketball player when I'm sitting in a restaurant. Did you miss the competition? Do you feel a need to replace it? I could say no, I don't have to replace it. I can't replace basketball. I could find things to fill a void in my life, to take up some time. I play golf, I still work out, but what I did in terms of my competitiveness, how can you keep that fire going? I can't keep it going because it was not only me competing with you on the court, but I was competing with you off the court. I felt like I was built stronger and more durable. It's about being the last man standing at the end of the day. What are your work plans for the future? I don't have many. I still work with ESPN, and that's pretty much it. Just kind of sitting back. I've got a son who plays at Vanderbilt University and 2 in high school. I'm kind of enjoying watching them grow. So that was Scottie Pippen giving his take again on the Last Dance. He wasn't pleased with how the Last Dance perceived him. If you want to know the truth behind the scenes of what happened with Scottie Pippen, go to Carceno for Life's page, Carceno for Life, and basically he breaks down the truth behind the Scottie and Michael, disagreement. I don't think it really was a beef, but he has beef up there, I believe. But I think it was more of a disagreement of Pippen wanting to be looked at as he's as equal as Michael Jordan. And he also go to that Michael Jordan versus Isaiah Thomas beef. Now that was a great listen to. It's an old video he did. Go and watch that. That'll tell you about the Bulls as well as it'll tell you things about Michael behind the scenes, how he was. So to me it's that'll show you what's going on. Me, I just look outside in. I don't have the sources like a Ticket TV, and shout out to Ticket TV. Go support that brother channel. Every time I look up, he's doing a live, and his energy and his aggressiveness is what we need today and what we need to listen to. So go look at those guys. Now, the thing with Scottie Simpin is, and he's been in a bad predicament. Also, Carceno for Life has the sources on what happened behind the scenes with his ex or estranged wife. They're not broken up, but his estranged wife Larsa, and her escapades and her promiscuous ways with Future and Lonzo, all these other guys, and now Malik Beasley. You know, it's just a mess. And to me, do I feel sorry for how Scottie was? To me, feeling sorry for what? Scottie Simpin was nothing more than an overglorified role player. And this is going to be a long video. If you're here, I'm just letting you know. If you're busy doing something, you might want to come back and listen to the video later. But Scottie Simpin to me was a guy who came in. He couldn't dribble the ball well. He was nervous wreck. He really wasn't highly sought after going to college at Central Arkansas and then even being drafted. Nobody really cared for Scottie Simpin. I mean, he's just a guy who just, to me, he's no Planners Paul. He's no Planners Paul. The only thing I would say no Planners Paul is, no Planner Paul offensively is a little better, so I would take him slightly over Scottie Simpin, but they're both players who are very talented, who learned how to get better handling the ball, how to defend, how to score in certain places. And the problem with Scottie Simpin is, dude, you were the one who said you would do it again after you quit. When you quit, you should have had time to think and say, you know what, I would have changed it. But that's not in your heart. You soft. And then you're going to call Michael talking about, I wasn't pleased. Listen, Michael Jordan was the Chicago Bulls, okay? So I'm tired of all these, you LeBrownie fans and all you idiots, you dummies. He was the Chicago Bulls. Nobody cared about the Bulls before Michael was there and after Michael left until they got Derrick Rose, and then that's when everyone started hopping back on the Bulls bandwagon, and then he had that horrific injury. But dude, you had a chance to do something without Mike. You had a chance to get to the championship. You were choking down the stretch in that game. Everybody talks about, oh, it was a bad call. It was a bad call. What did happen? Yeah, it was a bad call, but at the end of the day, Scottie Simpin was coming up short. Horace Grant and BJ was carrying you the whole season. You didn't have to do anything. It's the same thing you did in Portland. You had a supporting cast and you just played your role, which was a role player. You distributed the ball. You played some defense when you could, when your back wasn't messed up. But dude, this guy here is so soft. He's still crying like a little itch. And this is what No Planners Paul is doing. If you watch No Planners Paul on All the Smoke with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, and you watch him in other interviews, he does the same thing that Scottie Simpin does. They don't know how to accept blame. And then in his mind, he thinks he's on the level of Michael Jordan, and you're not. This is why I can't stand the media, and I can't stand these fanboys, especially these Chicago fanboys who always want to try to throw Pippen up there. Listen, when I say that I really don't remember Pippen doing anything, it's not trying to be funny. I really don't. He was just a regular player. He never jumped off my screen like a Tim Duncan or a Michael or a Hakeem Olajuwon or even a Clyde Drexler, even Cliff Robinson, Terry Porter, guys like that. I've never seen him play to that potential. Now, as a role player, as a good piece, he was a great role player. Not a good one. He was a great role player. Pippen did some things that really helped the Bulls. But if he wasn't there, it wasn't no sink or swim. If you didn't have Michael Jordan, then yeah, that would have been that would have been something where it would have been like, man, we ain't got Jordan, so what we gonna do? Michael had a presence when he walked on and off the court. You didn't have a presence. You were too busy getting punked by Xavier McDaniels and Anthony Mason and them boys against the New York Knicks when they was beating you up. The final year Michael won that championship before he went into an early retirement. You were getting punked. You were getting pushed around, and then everybody want to bring up the dunk he had on you. And okay, he had a dunk, but what else did he do that game? What else did he do? They just show Michael Jordan. That's all they show, Michael Jordan. You were a role player. Michael Jordan is the Bulls. The Last Dance is because of Michael Jordan. Nobody wanted to see no damn Scottie Simpin or no Ho Grant. Who wanted to see them two? I know I ain't want to see them, and I'm not a fan of Michael Jordan. I'm not a fan at all. But at the same time, dude, you're delusional in your mind of how things really are and how it unfolded. You were a weak-minded player. You quit on your team. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan coming back, you would have been traded for either T-Mac or Sean Kemp or somebody. You would have been traded. And you should have been traded. Throwing chairs on the court, endangering people's lives doing that, and then just throwing a fit, then quitting during the game because Phil Jackson didn't let you take the last second shot. Who cares? That's not your skill set. You're not a shooter like that. Tony Kukoc is that guy. And he proved he was that guy. I think Kukoc was up there on your level. The only thing I don't give him is defensively and ball handling wise, you were better. But other than that, offensively, scoring and shooting, man, Kukoc was better. His mental toughness was better. And you sitting here crying about it. Now, The Last Dance painted you just like who I knew you were, a weak-ass dude. You were weak. And it's understandable you were weak. You were weak. You mentally weren't there. You didn't answer the bell like you always said. What happened when the Pistons put pressure on you? You were running like a little beach. Like a little beach you was running like. And now you coming out talking about this doesn't look good and everything. It's like, come on, Scottie. Just own up. You were weak. Just say I couldn't do it without Mike. Mike is the reason why I got these championships. And it's the truth. Michael Jordan always seen you as that little brother he had to coddle. He had to coddle you. He had to toughen you up and coddle you because he knew you weren't all the way straight. Michael didn't even want to play with you. There's reports even from guys like Jay Mariotti and all them who said Michael wanted to trade your ass right after the Celtics, after y'all lost that series where y'all had a chance to win. Y'all were up against them and then they came back and beat you to go on to beat on Portland. So where was that at, Scottie Simpin? I'm not talking about your off the court life because I don't have all the facts and I don't really care about all that. I'm caring about what you did on the court. On the court, you were a average player. You had the talent, but average mental wise. Your mental is what held you back from, to me, being a top 50 player. You shouldn't have been voted in. You only got put there because of Michael Jordan. You shouldn't have been put in there over Joe Dumars. You shouldn't have been put over there ahead of Mark Aguirre or Adrian Dantley. Those guys were way better than you. And we could go on. Like, you're not even in my top 6 or 7 small forwards. I've never seen Pippen be that effective. If Jamal Mashburn wouldn't have had a serious injury early in his career, he would have been 100 times better than Pippen. Dominique Wilkins was 100 times better than you. And you got in before him in the top 50? That's a travesty. Now, his other comments, I agree with. I agree with you on these comments where you were saying that the bubble with no fans, that's a skill. You have to be able to handle pressure. I agree, even though you were the least person to talk, you couldn't handle pressure at all. You couldn't handle it at all if it was gift wrapped to you and Santa or God gave you a gene to say, yo, here you go. That's to help you relieve pressure. You'll still find a way to F it up because that's just who you are. Now, LeBrownies is not LeBrownies, and this is the thing. You're basically saying how LeBrownies was closing. What did LeBrownies close? He didn't close anything. He didn't. He didn't close nothing. He rode a free ride with no fans, no pressure. Everything was very light and very cool for him because it was COVID. These bubble championships don't count. The football thing ain't going to count, or basketball, because it's no fans. When you don't have no fans in the stands, it's probably the least pressure situation that you could play with. Like if Scottie Pippen played today, Scottie could play in a bubble. because he won't have anybody saying you soft, you trash, Scottie simping, where your wife at this game. So it he would have thrived in a bubble situation. Now the equality part, I've been saying this since I was in college in 2003 to '07 when I graduated with my bachelor's. I've said this all the time. Equality, we need to stop thinking that everything's going to be equal. If you want things to be equal, you have to open up your own business. That's the only way, but we can't do it because they're going to find a way to screw us over because us as black men cannot have that opportunity. For some reason, they don't want to let us to the table. They want to keep us away from the table as far as they can. They don't want us to grow as a community and as a race. They want us to still stay under their thumb where we need them and we need to depend on them. So equality has never been like all this marching for what? MLK and them marched. And look what happened. We're still trying to fight for the same recognition that they were fighting for. So us as black people have to understand we're not going to get the same opportunities. What we need to do is we need to start striking. These players had a chance to strike and to say, you know what, we're not going to play. We don't care if you take our money away. We need to have equality in the league. We need to hire more black coaches. Byron Scott said this. I have this video on my page. Byron Scott talks about how Kobe wanted him hired. And we need more players like that who wants them to be hired. But as soon as Kobe left, they fired Byron Scott and brought in a little kid on Walton's son. So it's like this. Equality is never going to be met with black coaches. It's just going to be that way. If you deal with it, cool. If you can't, open your own league up. You guys have the financial stability and you're in an age now where you don't need these guys no more. You don't. You can actually do what you want to do. So I don't get all this, oh well, we only got one owner. And I've been saying that. We only got one black owner in the NBA. And I get tired of all these other people saying that, well, the NFL is racist. The NFL is blatantly racist. The NBA is just systematically racist. They're more soft with their racism. Even though they're racist, they can be blatant, but they want to be soft because they have to promote it because we've taken over the NBA. So now you got Luka coming in. They're going to push towards Luka to make him the face, which I already know they're going to do, but he's actually good. They want him to be the new Larry Bird. They're still trying to find that Larry Bird guy. But to me, yeah, he'll be a good face, but the only way it'll work is if you have an American-born white boy, and we haven't seen that in a while. Now, Tyler Hero may be that guy, but he might not get no publicity because he's in Miami. So all I'm saying is this. Scottie simping is right in that aspect. But Scottie, you were a soft player. You used to get burnt a lot by Sean Elliott, by Mashburn. Grant Hill used to take you to work. Penny used to take you to school. You used to get did up by Vinnie Johnson. You got destroyed by Mark Aguirre. Joe D was killing you. Isaiah Thomas was killing y'all. James Worthy was giving you the business when he used to play you all the time. So to say that, oh, you're one of the greatest players, you're not. You're one of the great role players. You're not a top 50 player. All your fanboys going to be like, he made defensive. I don't care how many defensive teams he made. Like I said, he was a good defender and he was a good facilitator. But that's it. Outside of that, what game has Scottie Pippen saved? What game has he closed? Nobody can answer that question. You know why? Because he's not that guy. Okay? He's from that LeBrownies tree and he's from that no planners Paul tree. They don't have that mental fortitude or attitude to close the game. They're front runners. If it's comfortable for them where they're not struggling, they can win. They can win. Now, that's the one thing I give LeBrownies over no planners and Scottie simping. When he gets a lead, he'll win all the time because he's a front runner. But them two, they're going to find a way to choke. They're going to find a way to mess up. So, I mean, like I said, Scottie simping, The documentary was about Michael Jordan. I watched the documentary because of Michael Jordan. You were not interesting, so just let it go, man. You need to be worried about getting your last name back from your wife because she out here continuously making you look bad, and you're taking her back, and then you get caught with an IG model talking to her after you just got back with the chick. But Scottie, this has always been you. You've always had these escapades of going out in public and doing what you do. But because she doing it now, oh, it's all messed up. Oh man, it ain't right. Well, Scottie shouldn't have been doing it first. If you're gonna marry somebody, be faithful. Stop having these side chicks and these side men or side dudes, y'all call it. When you're in a marriage, you're in a marriage for a reason. And that's the problem with today. You guys are too busy thinking about the lower parts and the lower extremities instead of thinking about the higher chakra, which is your mind, and building as a team. When you get married, you become one. And I think people like the idea of marriage and what they could get out of it instead of what we can get out of it as what we can do to grow. And that's the problem. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this, hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you want to donate to the page, cash at me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you for listening, and we're out. La boy.